Hi everyone, we are here again for another giant book haul. To say that I have lost my sanity a little bit would be very accurate. I have bought entirely too many books since my last book haul. Yeah. Some of them are pre-orders. Some of them I saw and had to have. And I will say though, I don't think I purchased any of these full price. They're all sitting on the floor over here. I think the only ones that I bought, quote, full price were the special editions in my book boxes. So Fairy Lou and Illumicrate. I did buy one Illumicrate sequel, so that's in here too. But everything else I got on sale. I didn't pay full price for any of it. So I've got a little bit of a different setup today because normally I film in front of that bookshelf, but I didn't want to sit on the floor the entire time for this book haul because I've got a lot of books. So I'm sitting at my desk, sitting in my chair, and we're gonna go ahead and start. So I've organized all of the books into piles of where I purchased them. So the different sources, and I've got quite a few. So, and on some of these, I haven't removed all of the stickers on them. I just haven't done it yet. So eventually, when I actually put the books onto my shelves, I will make sure all of the stickers are off before I do that because I hate the stickers. Okay, so the first source we're going to start with is Book Outlet. Now, Book Outlet has discounted new books that typically are from stores that they just have an overabundance of stock. So sometimes from Book Outlet, they'll have Target stickers on them, or Walmart, or even Sam's Club stickers on them. And sometimes they'll have like a black or a red dot on the edges, denoting that it's like a discount book or whatever. But they run a lot of sales, and you can get free shipping if you spend over $35. And I order from Book Outlet a lot because a lot of these, especially even like the first print run special editions with like sprayed edges and whatever, you can get them on Book Outlet. So it's pretty awesome. But let's go ahead and start off with this first book I have is by Olivia Parker, and it is called To Wed a Wicked Earl. So I have been watching Christy Reads a Lot's videos, and she loves historical romance and reads a lot of historical romance. And back in the day, I used to read a lot of historical romance, and I've kind of gotten out of it. And so I saw this book, and Christy enjoyed this book because I looked it up on Goodreads. So I went ahead and got this. I think it was like $3 or $4 on Book Outlet. So first book. And honestly, this might be the second one in the series. I can't remember. And then we've got Hemlock Queen by Hannah Whitten, and this is the second book in this series. I don't know the name of this series. Best-selling series, The Nightshade Crown. I guess this is the Nightshade Crown series. Honestly, I don't remember, but the second book in this series, it's got deckled edges. This is just the standard paperback edition of this book, and I got it for, I can't remember, probably like $6 or something. Then at Book Outlet, I found the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Enchantra. So I have Phantasma, but it's a book of the month book, so it's a large hardcover, and this is paperback, but you know what? It's fine. I liked the different colorway on the front of the Barnes & Noble edition. It's kind of got purples and blues. So I was able to get this one for a discount. And I'm not sure what the other features are of this Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, but it probably has like extra chapters or something. And that's the second book in that series. I don't know if it's a duology or a series. Then we've got Blood Marked by Tracy Dion, and this is the second book in the Legendborn cycle. So I have not read Legendborn yet, but one of my good friends, she loves this series a lot, and so I need to get to it. But I've got the second book in that series, and I believe this is like a contemporary, like a fantasy, but in like set in the modern world, something like that. And then I've got the first print edition of Immortal Dark. So this edition has the sprayed edges, and it's got these end papers, so it kind of looks like a library book. And then the naked hardcover does have a foiled quote, and it says, "Seek mind above blood, and if you must bleed, use it as ink." And I can't remember who I was watching their YouTube video, and they had just recently read this and enjoyed it. But I have been wanting to read this book since it came out, and I think it sounds really interesting. A lost heiress, a soulless vampire, a secret drenched in blood. It began long before my time, but something has always hunted our family. Orphaned heiress Keaton Adane grew up far from the arcane society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Keaton is convinced a vampire stole her. The very vampire bound to their family, the cruel yet captivating Ceseños Sagid. Sagid? These names are kind of interesting. To find June, Keaton must infiltrate the elite Uxley University, where she must survive living with Ceseños, even as he does everything he can to drive her away. It doesn't matter that Ceseños' wickedness speaks to Keaton's own violent nature and tempts her to surrender to a life of darkness. She must find her sister and kill Ceseños at all costs. So, Immortal Dark. Then we've got The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. And this is the third book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. And like always, these naked hardcovers are so pretty. And this is just the standard edition, just like all the other ones. I absolutely love these naked hardcovers. And to get it for like $6, totally worth it. And then it has a map and a little bit of art on the different like title pages and stuff. So third book in that series. Then a book that I have been wanting to read for a long time. I first heard about this book on Becca and the Books, her channel. She read this book, I don't know, a couple years ago, something like that, and really loved it. And so now I've finally got The Pomegranate Gate. And this is by Ariel Kaplan. And this is just the standard edition of this book. But excited to get into The Pomegranate Gate. I've heard really good things about it. And the end papers are a pretty full color map. So that's really cool. And there's some art in here too. Then these next two books are special edition of Jennifer L. Armentrout books, which we know I love her books so much. So I've got Obsidian and Onyx, and they both have the sprayed edges. So this one did come a little beat up. The dust jacket is a little bit beat up, but it's not terrible. But really the only special thing on these is they have sprayed edges. The naked hardcovers don't have anything. There's not even colored end papers. They're just white. So really it's just the sprayed edges. So honestly, I would not have paid full price for these because only having sprayed edges like nowadays doesn't cut it for a special edition. So glad I got those for probably like $6. But yeah, sprayed edges are pretty. Then I have the sprayed edge edition of Four Ruined Realms by Mike Corland. And this has that pretty edge. And see, that's the dot that I was talking about. Oh well. And this does have some pretty end papers and some foiling on the naked hardcover. And the back end pages are the same, but those are really pretty. And then there is a map. So this is the second book in the trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. So the first copy I have of what's it called? Five Broken Blades. Yeah, Five Broken Blades is a book of the month copy. So this one's hardcover, but it'll look a little different, but that's fine since I got it for such a discount. Then I have Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. And this has solid blue edges, which I thought was kind of odd. You think they would be like orange or red or even like a kind of a silvery, but yeah, blue. And then pretty end papers. And the naked hardcover is just plain. And I bet the back end papers are the same too. Yeah. And then let's see if there's a map or anything. Does not look like there's a map, but there is some art in here. So that's nice. Dragons are extinct, witches are outcast, magic is dying, but human lust for power is immortal. Dragon fire no longer blisters the skies over Pantera, but inside the lavish palace, life is still perilous, especially for Tamsin. Raised in the realm's glittering court alongside the princesses, it's her duty to be punished for their misdeeds. Treated as part of the royal family, but also as the lowest servant, Tamsin fits nowhere. Her only friend is Stig, captain of the guard, though sometimes she thinks he wants more than friendship. When Fel, the beast of the borderlands, descends on her home, Tamsin's world becomes even more dangerous. To save the pampered princess from a fate worse than death, she is commanded to don a veil and marry the brutal warrior. She agrees to the deception, even though it means leaving behind Stig and the only life she's ever known. So I have heard several people on YouTube like this book, and so I went ahead and picked it up for a discount. Then I have a hardcover copy of The Bonesmith by Nikki Pau Prado. Not sure if I'm saying her name right, but this is just a standard edition. But recently I saw Olivia Reads a Latte read this book, and she really liked it, and I'm pretty sure she immediately went into the second book in the series. This is just a standard edition, but excited for this one. And it does have a map, so that's a cool map. And this book came out a couple of years ago, I think. 2023, so not that old. Ready your blade, defeat the undead. In the Dominions, the dead linger, violent and unpredictable, unless a bonesmith severs the ghosts from their earthly remains. For Bonesmith Wren, becoming a Valkyr, a ghost-fighting warrior, is a chance to solidify her place in the noble house of Bone and impress her frequently absent father. But when sabotage causes Wren to fail her qualifying trial, she is banished to the border wall, the last line of defense against a wasteland called the Breach, where the vicious dead roam unchecked. So, sounds pretty interesting. And then the last book that I got from Book Outlet is The Revenant Games by Margie Fuston. And this is just a standard copy of this book. Nothing special about it. Yeah, just a standard copy. Does not appear to have a map. So let's see. A lot of these books you will find that I don't know a whole lot about or remember what they're about, but I know that they've all pretty much been recommended. Blood is survival for 17-year-old Bly, who lives in the poverty-stricken human villages caught between enemy vampire and witch kingdoms. Most of the time, vampires and witches live in an uneasy truce, buying human blood for their food and spells. But for 2 weeks a year, the truce dissolves, and they hold the Revenant games. Any human can play in the games for either the witches or the vampires. The witches will raise one person from the dead for whoever captures the highest ranking vampire. The vampires offer immortality to whoever captures the most powerful witch. For most humans, the games are a ticket out of poverty. For Bly, it's a chance to get back her dead sister Elise and save her dying best friend Emerson. So, I've also heard good things about this book. And apparently it's vampire season, because a lot of these books have involved vampires. Which I do love a good book about vampires. Then the next pile of books I have are from Barnes & Noble. And I have gotten all of these on a discount. So this first book, which is Beautiful Things by Emily Rath. Now this is a republishing and like a redesigned cover and everything. I'm not sure if it was already traditionally published or got picked up and then they re-released it. I was looking at the Barnes & Noble, I think it was like weekly discounts or something like that. And this book has just been released and it was on sale. So I went ahead and picked it up because it sounded really good. So it's got these beautiful sprayed edges with the flowers. And then it has really fun character art in the front. And then I think in the back as well. No, just in the front. But I thought that was really fun. Oh, it does have another picture. Just on the other side of this one. And this is a reverse harem. At 22, Rosalie Harrow is unmarried and near destitute. She has two choices: snag a wealthy gentleman or take work as a governess. Neither option appeals to headstrong Rosalie, who sees both futures as a kind of cage. When Rosalie receives an invitation to Alcott Hall, she believes she's there to meet the Dowager Duchess of Norland, the mysterious childhood friend of her late mother. Instead, Rosalie is thrust into the middle of a house party of eligible high society ladies, all desperate to win the hand of the new, conveniently single Duke. The more Rosalie tries to avoid the husband hunt, the more she finds herself charmed by three very different men. There's Lord James, the Duke's younger brother, who is the secret Duke in all but name. Lieutenant Renly recently returned from the West Indies and begrudgingly looking for a wife of his own. And the tempestuous Mr. Burke, who irks yet intrigues Rosalie to no end. So, verse harem sounds very interesting. Got that on a sale. And then these next two books I pre-ordered from Barnes & Noble, and with all of their pre-orders, a couple times a year they have a pre-order sale. So I get all my pre-orders when they're having that sale. I think it's like 25 or something % off, and then I get an extra 10% because I'm a Barnes & Noble member. So I got Accomplice to the Villain, which is the third book in the Assistant to the Villain series. And this is the Barnes & Noble edition. And it's got green sprayed edges. And you've got Kingsley up here. Oops. Kingsley up here with his little signs. He's my freaking favorite. I love Kingsley so much. I cannot freaking wait to read this book. I am so excited about it. I'm so excited about it. I've been waiting all freaking year for this book. Because let's see, I read Assistant to the Villain and what's the second one? Accomplice? No, this one's Accomplice. Associate? No. Assistant to the Villain. Oh, and I've read Assistant and Apprentice to the Villain both last year and absolutely loved them. So I'm super, super excited to get into this, to see what happens, to see what Kingsley gets into. I freaking love these books so much. They're so good. And then the last book that I got from Barnes & Noble is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. So this is the special edition of this book. And this book is my favorite out of this trilogy. Or I mean, out of this series that she wrote. And this one is based off of Scar from The Lion King. And his name is Tristan in these books. And let me tell you, whew, Tristan, freaking love these books so much. So, and it's got some pretty character art. So I really, really love this book. And then it's digitally signed. And all of these books have a playlist, which I would listen to on repeat while reading these. And then it's got their crest and then also a map. And the back quote is, "I'd like to draw you just like this with your face kissing the stars. I think it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." So Tristan, he draws, so obviously. I love this book so much. It's so good. I really enjoyed the series, but this is my favorite one of all of them. Then I got 2 books off of Pango. Unbeknownst to me, the Ember in the Ashes series, I bought the first book off of Blackwell's with a certain cover. And then when I went back to Blackwell's a couple months later to get the rest of the books, those covers were out of print. I didn't know that was happening, obviously, otherwise I would have just gotten all 4 books at one time. I decided to hunt down the middle 2 books. I wasn't able to find the 4th book with this cover. So I found them on Pango, and I got Torch Against the Night and Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. And unfortunately, this book is a little bit more beat up than the description said it was. But these were literally the only 2 copies of this cover that I found on Pango at the time that I was looking, and I couldn't find them anywhere else. So I went ahead and picked up these 2 so that they'll match my Ember in the Ashes book. And then the 4th book I wasn't able to find with this cover. So I'll just have to see if I can eventually find it, or I'll just not, they won't all match. So then Barnes & Noble, then Target was running a book sale. So I went ahead and picked up 2 books online. The first is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. And this has red solid sprayed edges. And the end pages are a map. And then the naked hardcover is just plain. And the back end pages are the same with the map. And then the beginning also has some drawings, which obviously mean something in this world. But I have heard excellent things about this book, and I've heard excellent things about her writing and about The Sword of Kaigen, which I have that book on my Kindle. So really excited to get into some of M.L. Wong's writing. And the second book I picked up at Target is A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. And this has the really pretty sprayed edges and the full color map on the end pages, but the naked hardcover is plain. And then the back is also that map. And it has some art on the chapter titles pages. But I've heard really good things about this book. That's why I went ahead and picked it up. It's a relatively new release, so I went ahead and picked it up because I was hearing such good things about it. Let's read a little bit of the synopsis. All Nina has ever wanted is to become an artisan. All Patrick seeks is a craftsman revolution. Will they choose their greatest desires or each other? So, sounds pretty good. Then, so those are the only 2 books that I got from Target. Then Amazon was running, I think like a 15% off sale on some of their books. So I went ahead and got a couple. So these are all first books in series that I've been dying to read. So the first one is Broken Bonds by Jay Bree. So this is, I think, a 5-book series, and it's a reverse harem. So I have been dying to get into this book. And these are indie copies. They're sort of floppy, but I have been so excited to get into these books. And there is some art on the chapter pages. After the death of my mother and her bonded, I was relieved to find my own bonds. I was sure everything would be okay if I had them. It wasn't. The fate of our people is in my hands, and I know we're better off if I'm alone. After 5 years on the run, I'm caught and dragged back to face the men I ran away from. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now I'm not so sure. North, Knox, Griffin, Atlas, and Gabe may never forgive me, but one thing is for sure. I won't ever forgive myself. So, super excited. And then Jay Bree's other series, A Crown of Oaths and Curses. This is the first book, and there are 2 books out in this series so far. I'm not sure if there are going to be more or not, but I've heard this book is really, really good, and it is quite long. It is almost 650 pages long. So, excited to get into this one too. And the last book that I picked up on Amazon was The Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorich. So, these books, I feel like so many people on BookTube are reading these books, and also the Legacy series. And then I think these books or the Legacy series were just picked up by a trad publisher. I can't remember which series, but I have the first book in the series now, and I cannot freaking wait to read these. I am so excited to read these. These sound so good. There is a map, so that's cool too. I love a good map. So got these 3 very popular books on Amazon on sale. Now let's get into the Illumicrate books that I have gotten. So most of this year I have actually skipped the Illumicrate books just because they haven't really been speaking to me. And I just feel like they aren't books that I need to own, especially because they're special editions, so they're priced higher. So I just didn't feel the need to purchase them. So I only have 2 books here from Illumicrate. So the first is The Blood Phoenix by Amber Chen. Now this is the sequel to Of Jade and Dragons, which I read earlier this year and I really, really loved. So I went ahead and got the special edition of the second book. And it's got sprayed edges of the Phoenix with feathers and fire. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed with the detail that they put into the Phoenix. So on the first book of Jade and Dragons, the spine has a blue dragon, and it's very, very detailed, and it looks very, very nice. So I feel like, especially from like here up, it's like they forgot one of the layers of color to do the detail. So I was kind of disappointed in the detail on the sprayed edge, especially for a special edition that I paid quite a bit of money for because it shipped from the UK. So shipping was not cheap. But here is this kind of redesigned cover, and then the back, and then the naked hardcover is really pretty, just like Of Jade and Dragons. So it's the same style, and I really love it. I just think it looks so nice. And then the character art I like as well. And then the back. So in this book, it takes place, I think, 2 years after the first book, and it's a continuation of the war that was started in the first book. And I'm not sure if there are going to be more in this series or not. The author hasn't announced a 3rd book, and as far as I know, it's only supposed to be a duology, so we'll see about that. And then I love this edition of this book so much. I was so happy when I opened it, and so happy that they kept the pink that was on the original cover. So this is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. So this is a Hermione retelling, and the fanfic was picked up by a trad publisher, and then so the author had to rename the characters and change around the world a little bit because obviously you can't use Harry Potter in your books. So this is the Illumicrate edition, and I absolutely love this. So this has an acetate clear cover, and I think it looks so freaking good. Like, I love it so much, and I'm so glad that they kept the pink. It makes me so happy. So here's the sprayed edges. I just love it. I love it so much. And so here is the naked hardcover. And I don't know if you can see, but these are two people. It's like their nervous system or their veins and arteries or something, or, you know, I don't know. But, and then the back is a heart. And then the character art I absolutely love. I think it looks so good. And then the back, again, love it so much. And there's a letter from the author, and then there's a map that is very obviously the UK. Very obviously the UK. But I am so happy with this edition. Illumicrate did such a good job with it. I like it so much. And I don't have any other books that have this clear acetate cover on them. So really looking forward to reading this one. I have heard mixed reviews about it. Some people have read it and said that it's too funny, like too joking around and not as serious. But honestly, I'm here for a good satirical book. As those of you who like the Assistant to the Villain series, because those are very satirical. And I laugh during those books all the time. So I don't mind if this book is a little bit satirical. So I'm excited to get into that book too. So let's take a little bit of a break and look at some bookish merch. So I ordered a couple of bookmarks from Cooper's Calligraphy on Etsy, and I will link their store in the description. But I got some bookmarks and a little Kindle case art print. I don't know. But this says one more chapter, and I've got my magnetic strip thing there, but one more chapter, and it's printed like vintage tile, which I absolutely love. So I got that. And then I got two bookmarks. One says one more page with that same tile design. And then also skeleton gingerbreads. Is that in focus? I can't tell if it's in focus, but skeleton gingerbreads. So on their Etsy site, they have a lot of bookmarks that are skeleton creatures. For Easter, there are skeleton peeps. And I have another skeleton one. I don't remember. Oh, it's skeleton cats for Halloween, and I absolutely love them. So these bookmarks are really good quality. They're all laminated, and I really like the designs. So I've ordered from that Etsy shop a couple of times, and I've liked everything that I've received. So let's get into all of the books that I have purchased from Thrift Books. So Thrift Books is a used book website, and they have a ton of books on there. And honestly, a lot of them are in pretty good condition, and the prices aren't too high. I was able to get a couple of series that I have been waiting to get in certain covers. And that would be The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. So I like these covers. I don't like the new ones that are like the, they're almost kind of like a graphic novel design, character art and stuff, and I don't love those as much. I really like the original covers. These are the original covers that they had when I read the books, the first time I read the books, and I love these books so much, and I really want to do a reread. So I got Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Winter, which this book is in like perfect condition. And then I also got Stars Above, and then Fairest, which is about the villain. It's a little shorter. It's about the villain in the other books. And then she's also got a graphic novel duology that I have not read yet, and I honestly don't know much about it, but I was able to get volume 1, Wired Nerves, and this is a naked hardcover. I haven't been able to find the second one yet, but I did get the first one. So this is a graphic novel with another story. I'm not sure exactly what happens in this. There's not like a synopsis on the back. Let's see. Yeah, there's not a synopsis, so I'm not sure what this one is about exactly. But it follows the Lunar Chronicles. Got the first volume of this graphic novel series. Then I was a little disappointed in this one because I didn't think that I would be getting this cover because it wasn't the one that I ordered. So I think they sent me the wrong book. But Thrift Books customer service, I will say, was amazing because there was one book that arrived that was covered in mold, and they refunded me money for that. And then they also refunded me this because they sent me the wrong book. So this was not the cover that I ordered. I don't like the covers with the people on them as much as the other covers. And so since they sent me the wrong book, they also refunded me for this one. But I still have it, so I guess I'll just keep it until I find a copy with the cover that I want. But they did have really good customer service, and they responded immediately, especially for the book that was covered in mold, because it was marked as very good quality, and it obviously wasn't. So it's nice that they have good customer service. Because that book, honestly, that book shouldn't have even been sold because it's a health hazard. So I was glad that they refunded me this. But Hunting Prince Dracula is the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. And I own the first book, but I have not started this series yet. So there's that book. We all know that I love Harry Potter. So there are a couple of like Harry Potter spin-offs that I didn't have in my library. So I got the original publication of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and also Quidditch Through the Ages. So this originally came as like a 3-book box set along with Tales of Beetle the Bard. But I already have Tales of Beetle the Bard in the illustrated like edition that they came out with. I don't know. This was when the movies were still coming out. Probably in like 2009. So I have that copy of Tales of Beetle the Bard. So I went ahead and picked up these two. And I do have the illustrated edition of Fantastic Beasts, and it's absolutely beautiful. So fun to look at, and all the drawings of all the magical creatures. So went ahead and picked these books up. They're in pretty good condition. The corners are a little worn, but you know, these books are quite old, so that's fine. But I do love how they're actual like books, like textbooks. You know how in school you would go back to the front page and look, ooh, whose book did this used to be? Yeah, it's just like that. in these, so I love that. But you know, just little short books. These were their like textbooks in school, so got those. And then I got the screenplays of Fantastic Beasts and The Crimes of Grindelwald. So I was finally able to find a copy of this book that actually had the dust jacket. So I don't know why, but every single copy of this book that was on Thrift Books did not have a dust jacket. So it took me forever to find this copy, and it's actually in really, really good shape. So I'm really happy with that. And it's got the Niffler on the front, which is so friggin' cute. And it's just the screenplay of the movies. And then this one has the Eiffel Tower. I don't know if those are focusing, I can't tell. I was not able to find any, I wasn't able to find the third one. So I have these two, but excited to add these to my Harry Potter library because Harry Potter is my all-time favorite series, and I have a bunch of different versions of the books. So next we'll go into all of the books that I have gotten from Goodwill. So the Goodwill kind of by my house actually has a pretty decent book selection most of the time. So over the last couple months, I have been able to get a couple of books. So the first one I have is Dangerous by Amanda Quick. This is a historical romance, and it's got this beautiful step back. I just love all the art on the step backs. So this one, actually I can't read it because I still haven't taken the frickin' stickers off. At 5 and 20, Prudence Merriweather knew very well the risks a woman took by visiting a gentleman in the dead of night. But bearding, it does say bearding, B-E-A-R-D-I-N-G. Does that have a different meaning than, I'm gonna have to look that up. Bearding. But bearding, boldly confront or challenge someone, formidable. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so I guess I'll do a screenshot and put it up here. So it means bearding is a verb, and it means boldly confronting someone or challenging them. Boldly confront or challenge, someone formidable. So, boldly confronting. So, but bearding, in parentheses, boldly confronting, the notorious Earl of Angelstone in his den was the only way to stop him from engaging her hot-headed brother in a duel. And that was why she found herself ushered into Sebastian's forbidding presence at 3 in the morning and thoroughly kissed before dawn. So after figuring out the one word that I haven't heard used in this context, but bearding or confronting, this book sounded good. And then I also got Liberty Blue by Robin Lee Hatcher. And this is another historical romance. And this one's kind of got a Western theme. This beautiful step back. And it's got like a rope here on the edge. So I thought this book sounded really good, and I liked the step back. Honestly, I saw the step back and grabbed it. Does this not have a description? Doesn't look like this has a description. Okay, well this doesn't have a description, but it's set in May, or at least the first part is May 1890 in the Idaho Territory. So, and this book is relatively short. It's not very long, barely 300 pages. So then I got The Roswell Woman by Frances Patton Statham. And this is a Civil War. It's based in the Civil War. Words, geez. And this beautiful art. And then the beautiful, it just like the same pattern follows all the way around. So you have the guys going up this hill right here, and then you've got the hill continued, and then the hill on the back too. And this beautiful art that wraps all the way around. That's what sold me on this book, especially since it was only $2 at Goodwill. So that helps too. But this is about, from the pages of American history comes the Roswell women. Did I say women or woman? Roswell women? Maybe I said the wrong word. Geez. Allison Forsyth, beautiful widow of Captain Coyne, his first name is Coyne? Okay. Captain Coyne Forsyth, the regal plantation mistress, would survive the ravages of imprisonment to find a love that unleashed a passion she thought she'd forgotten, until a ghost from the past threatened to destroy her hard-won future. And then it talks about 3 other women as well during the Civil War. So I got The Dead Guy Next Door by Lucy Score. And this is the first book in this series. And these have been re-released with different covers by Bloom. I want to say last year, maybe. So this is basically a brand new book. And it's in like perfect condition. And I got it for $2. So I haven't heard very many things about this series. I haven't seen very many people read them. But it's the first book in the series and it was $2. So I went ahead and picked that up. It's a Riley Thorne novel. For Riley Thorne, a nice normal, is that too much to ask? For Riley Thorne, it is. Divorced, broke, living with a pack of elderly roommates. And those hallucinations Riley's diligently ignoring. Her mom is convinced Riley must be clairvoyant. Just when things seemed like they couldn't get any worse, a so hot he should be illegal private investigator shows up on her doorstep looking for the guy next door, who turns up murdered. So, about an investigator and a possible psychic. Then, also by Lucy Score, I found The Christmas Fix. And this is the second book in the Fix It series or something like that. The first book in this series is actually on my TBR for August, and my hold finally came in at the library, so I'm going to go pick that up either today or tomorrow. But The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score is obviously a Christmas-themed book, and it's about a single dad and town manager, Noah Yates, has always taken his responsibilities seriously. But when a late-season hurricane turns Mary, Connecticut, into a disaster, he's left scrambling to pick up the pieces of the home he loves. That is until renovation expert and reality TV star Catalina King shows up with a camera crew and a budget big enough to put the town back together. So maybe, wink wink, you'll see this during a Christmas time vlog. Then I also picked up Winter Street by Ellen Hildebrand. And this book is a little bit worse for wear. It looks on the back that like a dog chewed on the edge, or maybe a baby or something. I don't know, but it was $2 at Goodwill. So Winter Street by Ellen Hildebrand, and this is the first book in the Winter series. And it's about Kelly Quinn is the owner of Nantucket's Winter Street Inn and proud father of 4 children. Patrick, a hedge fund manager, Kevin, a bartender, Ava, a school teacher, and Bart, the only child of Kelly's second marriage, who has recently shocked everyone by joining the Marines. As Christmas approaches, Kelly is looking forward to spending some quality time with his family at the inn. But when he walks in on his wife, Mitzi, kissing Santa Claus, or the man who plays Santa in the annual Christmas party, utter chaos descends. With his 3 older children reeling in their own dramas and Bart unreachable in Afghanistan, it might be up to Kelly's ex-wife, the nightly news anchor, Margaret Quinn, to save Christmas. So this one we might also read this Christmas season. We shall see. Then I found a very nice copy of The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. These are Tales from Middle-earth. This was put together after his death, and I honestly don't know a whole much about it, but I have been wanting to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I read The Hobbit like way back in the day, and then I never read the original trilogy, and then I have this book. I just got the Silmarillion, and then I have another Middle-earth, Stories from Middle-earth something book that I also got. This to add to that collection so that I can read the whole series. Then I picked this book up because I've heard that it's really good. The Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. So I believe this is the first book in the series. It looks like a historical mystery, maybe romance, like Victorian times. The back says Cecilia Basingthwaite, Basingthwaite, geez, what a last name, is the ideal Victorian lady. She's also a thief. Like the other members of the Wisteria Society crime sorority, she flies around England drinking tea, blackmailing friends, and acquiring treasures by interesting means. Sure, she has a dark and traumatic past and an overbearing aunt, but all things considered, it's a pleasant existence until the men show up. Per usual, men ruin it. So, first book in that series. Then, I picked up this rather beat up copy, but floppy copy of The Clash of Kings by George R. R. Martin. So, this is the second book in the Fire and Ice series, and it is the next book that I need to read in the game, and it's the next book that I need to read in the series. And I have all the mass market paperback editions, and those are sometimes a little bit difficult to read. So I went ahead and picked up this copy for $2 so that I could maybe finally get around to continuing the series, thinking that this would give me more motivation because it's a nicer copy, and it would make it easier for me to read. So I went ahead and got that one. Last but not least, the books that you've been waiting for, all of the Fairy Loot special editions. So the first one we've got is Heir of Storms by Lauren Hamilton Murray. And this book is actually on my August TBR. But this book won the prettiest book so far in 2025 that I have. And it is an absolutely beautiful edition. I love this completely redesigned cover. I love the sprayed edge so much. It's got the waves. It's got the clouds. I just think this is so, so beautiful. I think Fairy Loot did an awesome job with this edition. So then the reversible dust jacket is the original cover, just in a different, I believe a different colorway. And then we've got the naked hardcover, which is so pretty. Like, look how pretty that is. It's just so, so, so pretty. I love it. And then the end pages with the beautiful character art in the back. Like, I really hope that I can get to this book in August. I don't know, though. Reading the Blood and Ash books is really taking up a lot of my time because they're so big. But Heir of Storms, such a pretty edition by Fairy Loot. I am shaking this camera around a lot, aren't I? Oh, geez. Then I've got Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. And this is another Hermione retelling, or Hermione fanfic that got trad published, and yeah, that's been trad published. Words. But it's got these beautiful roses on the sprayed edge, beautiful roses on the cover, and this cute little fox. Then we've got the reverse dust jacket, which is the original cover, just in a different colorway. And then the naked hardcover is so pretty. So it's got some red foiling, And then the vines on the back. And then the character art on the front with some red foiling. Now, I'm not a big fan of the signature plate on the end pages. I don't care for that. And then the character art in the back with that red foiling. So I absolutely love this edition. I think it's really, really pretty. And I'm glad that Fairy Loot does pretty much completely redesigned covers for most of their special editions. So that is Rose in Chains, and I'm excited to get into this one. Because if you don't know, Hermione fanfics are, I really love them, big fan. Then I got Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. And this has pretty like thorny vines on the side, on the sprayed edges, black top and bottom, completely redesigned cover. And I'm sure a lot of you have maybe heard about this book, and it's been very, very popular since it was released. I've heard the writing is excellent. A lot of people love the story. It's about vampires. And so I've heard that it's really, really great. So let's get the reverse dust jacket, which, oops, I just totally bumped the camera. Then the reverse dust jacket is the original cover, just in a different colorway. And then the naked hardcover is so pretty. It's got copper foiling, and I think they did such a good job with this naked hardcover. I think it's so pretty. And then we've got the end page art, which has that same copper foiling. And I will say, I'm not a huge fan of this art style. I don't love it, but it's pretty. It's just not my style. I believe it follows a couple different timelines, like historical, and then maybe like, I don't know, mid-century, and then like one that's like present day, maybe. I'm not really sure, but a couple different timelines with 3 vampires. Then I've got the Nightblood Prince by Molly X Chang. And this again is a completely redesigned cover. And it's got these beautiful sprayed edges with the figure there and these pretty red blossoms. And then at the top, the tree continues, and at the bottom as well. But I really think this edition is very pretty. I do like it. And then we've got the the reverse dust jacket, which looks exactly like the original cover. I don't think they changed the colorway on it. I think it's the same. At least it looks the same to me, so I don't know. But then they've got this beautiful naked hardcover with the fan and the red foiling, which I think is so, so pretty. And then the character art on the end papers, like that a lot as well. And the back is a little different, and it seems like, yeah, those are 2 different dudes. Yeah, those are 2 different dudes. So I wonder if it's like a white shoes or a love triangle or something. And I think this is the YA book. Let's see. The spoiler card, yeah, it's the YA book for July 2025. So I have not read any books by this author, but I think I have 2 from Fairy Loot. A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. And I do think the cover is very, very pretty. However, this is almost identical to the traditionally published cover. Some of the colors are a little bit different, but it's very, very similar to the original cover. Now, that's to say, I love the original cover. I think it's so pretty. Am I terribly upset about it? No. because this is just so pretty. And it's got the flowers on the sprayed edges, green, and it's got a ribbon bookmark too. However, it does have a completely redesigned reverse dust jacket with character art. So if I wanted, I could switch this if I wanted to. And then the naked hardcover is so pretty. Look how beautiful that is. So serene. I just absolutely love it. I think they did such a good job with that art. And then I also love the end page art. Like, it's so, so pretty. Like, oh my gosh. Now I have heard mixed reviews about this book. I have seen a couple of people on BookTube read it, and some kind of liked it and some didn't. So we shall see. I will determine that for myself. And then the last Fairy Loot special edition is Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. And this is a completely redesigned cover, and I think it's nice. I don't love it. I honestly like the regular cover a little bit better, but it does have these really cool tarot card sprayed edges. So I was a little disappointed when I got this. It just seemed kind of plain to me. And I do like the naked hardcover. So that has kind of some cool artwork. And then the reverse dust jacket is the original cover, just in a different colorway. So I could also switch this one if I wanted to. Then we have the end paper art, which I really like. I think it's really cool. And I'm thinking that this, and then if you go to the back, it's also got like the circle thing. I think that means something in the book. I'm sure it does. But I think the end page art is really pretty too. Excited to get into that one. So I know I didn't really read any of the synopses for the Fairy Loot books, but this video is getting quite long and my battery is almost dead. So wanted to try to get through those a little bit more quickly. But that wraps up all of the books that I have physically purchased in the last couple of months. This does not include any of my Kindle books. I guess I could include Kindle books, but that's kind of a lot. So this is the big book haul for me. And I do these every couple of months, collect all my books, but I'm gonna try to not purchase as many. I need to get through some of my physical TBR first. So I'm gonna try to not buy so many. However, I do have quite a few books on pre-order from Barnes & Noble. We're gonna try to scale that back a little bit, but hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you've read these books and you like them or you didn't like them. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you would like to. And I will see you in the next video, which should be the September spinner wheel TBR video, which those are my favorite videos. They're so much fun. So please tune in next week for that video and I will see you later. Bye. Okay, so I'm popping back in here after a quick break to go to the gym. And just to mention that over the last couple of months, I have not gotten my book of the month books. I still have the subscription, I just don't have the books because I just haven't felt the need to have the last couple months books. So the couple reasons for that, either the book that I would have chosen for my book of the month was in my other subscription boxes, so like a Fairy Loot book, for example, or I just didn't really feel the need to own one. So most of the time, if the book is a mystery thriller or sometimes a romance, I don't really feel the need to buy the book. I will just get it from the library. So that is why there are no book of the month books in the haul today. Then the next thing is I forgot to do my Unhaul books. So I only have a couple of Unhaul books. So let's start with the first three. And I have 3 of the Sookie Stackhouse books. So I read the last book in the series in June, I think, in June, and enjoyed it. And then I had these other two on my shelves because I wasn't sure if I was actually going to read this one or if I was going to go back. And these were the ones that I had that were closest to the last one. So since I finished this book, finished this series, I just don't feel the need to only have 3 of the books from the series on my shelf. So I'm going to go ahead and unhaul these 3 books. Then I'm going to unhaul Honeymoon by James Patterson. So one of my friends, she borrowed this book and read it, and she said it wasn't super great. It was kind of predictable and kind of slow, and like the storyline was fine, but it wasn't, you know, super good. So I decided, well, you know, I've had this book for a really long time and I haven't read it yet. And she said it was just okay. And I really don't want to waste my time on just okay books. So I'm going to go ahead and unhaul Honeymoon by James Patterson. So those are the 4 books that I am unhauling. So that brings us to the conclusion of this video. Let me know down below if there are some of these books that you liked and that I should read first, or something you didn't really like. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.